Okay. Hello. We're live.
Hi.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining and listening to our album. Uh, yeah, it was such a pleasure to make, and hoped you liked it. We just wanted to talk about yeah. Feel free to as you're showing up. So we're on a bit of a delay here. I think it's like 30 seconds. So if you say anything in the chat, we're not gonna see it for like we're live.
Hi.
12 minutes. Oh shoot, there's an echo. Yeah. Turn that off real quick. Okay. Um, but yeah, feel free to pop it in on the chat. Just drop your name. Um, let us know who's there. Hey, Gino, what's up, man? Tiki, great to see you.
Hi,
Um,
Gino.
yeah, and yeah, feel free to ask any questions about the album. Otherwise, we got like some talking points that we can go through and slash. We got this cool setup over here where we can look at projects and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, do you want to go first? Like, what was it like
Yeah.
making the album and everything?
So, for the course of the album, if you've kind of, progress, and I still have such a long. I think, in terms of, I don't know if in terms of like making EDM in this whole genre, I think if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would be making EDM, I probably would have said no, just because I didn't think that was really set out for me. But I think that Eric really introduced me to it. So I really have an ear and quieter.
Sorry, we have some sound problems on. Uh, we got a noise gate on this microphone. Okay. um, okay. Try to speak directly into the mic. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, it's
is this
been cutting
better?
out. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Is this better now?
Speak directly into the mic. It should
Okay.
be fine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So, what I was saying is that if I started taking vocal lessons about like 3 years ago, which is kind of when we started making music together. So it's really cool for me to see just how my voice has changed and developed and evolved over the years. I'm really able to hear that, and maybe you're able to hear it too. But to me, that's just really cool and encouraging to see how it's changed. And I was just saying that if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would be a part of making EDM music, I probably would have said no, because I honestly just was not really into EDM. I've always just had a heart for slower songs, like very piano driven, quieter songs, like really pretty melodies. And if you know anything about Eric, you know he plays piano really well, and he really has an ear for those prettier melodies and harmonies. So he introducing me to EDM, I think, really opened my eyes to the fact that EDM could include some of those softer piano melodies and songs. So you might even hear that in some of our songs, just like a piano overlay or some piano in the background, where there are some really pretty melodies and harmonies. And I think it's really cool that we both appreciate that and have an ear for that, because I think that means a lot to me. So even in the midst of the noise and the sound and almost like a wall of sound, there's still this beautiful melody carrying through. That's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of agree. And then like, so okay, my personal influences, right, are I think anyone's familiar with like the artist like Midas. Um, he's a EDM guy, but he's a very melodic guy, and this is the type of music that I personally have always gravitated towards. Is like I'm really an atmosphere slash soundscape guy. And yeah, EDM is there's such a diversity of sounds. Like you're saying, like there can be the really gritty, like harsh, dissonant stuff. But what I really like is like I like melodic, pretty stuff that combines like the overdriven stuff. And so I think like growing up, I listened to a lot of Midas. I listened to a lot of like Coldplay, and like Brian Eno is one of my favorite producers. And just like I think I've always maybe not many people listen. I think most people, like normal people, listen to like harmonies or like melody, harmony, and lyrics, but not necessarily like the 3D sound design and soundscape of things. But I've just always been drawn to that, and so like that's why I feel like if I were to ever make music, I wouldn't just want to be like a piano and type of thing, but like it has to be the whole shebang. Um, yeah, and I think when we got married, right? So I think a lot of my sound preferences maybe rubbed off on you, but also like you've definitely like you've always been drawn to those like kind of those piano ballads. I think we really combined our predisposition, and we got married. Is like I think I was just at a point where like my level of production was like, okay, I think I know how to make something sound like pretty decent. Because I was actually like comparing like stuff. Okay, like EDM is such a hard space to be in, because like even in like 5 years, what the level that everyone like rised up to, like if you listen to stuff made like 5 or 6 years ago, it sounds like so outdated compared to today. But I think at least to like an average person who doesn't listen obsessively to EDM, it's passable. So I think I got to the level of production chops that I felt good at. And then like, I was married to an amazing singer and songwriter. And then I was like, yeah, let's make all the music. So we got
another crazy thing that, as you were saying, the rate at which music becomes outdated is so crazy, right? Like every 5 years or even less than that, song that was once really popular becomes outdated. So it's actually really tough to stay like relevant or stay on top of things. Honestly, I feel like the best way you can really keep up with it is by being ahead of the game.
Yeah, but I think there's a part of that where you just like can't give into that too much. Always trying to stay like quote relevant. Like you're always gonna be stressed out, and at some point you just have to like satisfied with what you make. And why don't we go ahead and maybe look in some of the set. Audio. Let me see if this is the session for our track Beautiful Doubt. Check the audio level here. Okay, and hopefully when we talk, the noise gate should not bleed the track. Okay.
Take a page from my book. I know how the story goes.
So what do we want to? So I actually previously did a breakdown of this on a church retreat last year. So I don't want to go over too much of the same exact stuff. But fortunately, there's a lot more still for like to go over in here. There's a lot going on in here. So the first thing to notice, right, is like, so I use Logic, right? Most producers, I think, use like FL Studio or Ableton. I use Logic. That's just kind of what I got stuck in. That's kind of what I gravitated towards. And you'll notice most of the tracks here are actually raw audio bounces. So like,
Everywhere that you look is full of pain and
fire here, right? And so the reason for that, so I end up bouncing to audio just a ton because so I'm running on not an old MacBook, but like it's a 2015 MacBook. And if you look at like how many layers are in this session, there's 44 layers, but within each of these bounced layers, that can consolidate like sometimes up to like 5 sounds. So when you get down to it, it's actually maybe more close to like 100 or more than 100 different just sounds in the whole project. And if you try to play that's gonna kill your computer, right? Like your CPU is gonna be crying out for mercy, and it's just gonna die instead of playing back the project. So just the reality of like making big, soundtrack type songs like this is you kind of gotta lay down the MIDI, get like a good layer, get some good layers down, and when you're satisfied with the individual layers, then you just bounce from the audio, and then you kind of do additional processing after they're bounced. So this specific session, I kind of, it's mostly the audio, but then I tried to pull in a couple specific MIDI instruments just to demonstrate. So let's see. So I think last time I went over this, I went like over the first up. Why don't we go to the second? Well, actually, why don't we just go back in the drop? Actually, I think. So, like, as a demonstration of all the different layers in here. So, we have drums down on the bottom. So, we got kick, snare, hi-hats. It's pretty typical EDM drums. And it's always important to have a strong foundation like percussion. Then we have a sub layer, which is just like basically a sine wave with a little bit of distortion, just holding down the low end. In fact, unless you're listening on headphones, it might be hard to hear that. So the sub bass is just to give it a really strong foundation, and then we have this mid bass, and this is part of the sounds that really add a lot of beef to it. So it's cool because it's like playing like a fifth, so it's playing the root note and then a fifth up. That adds a lot of thickness to the mix, and it's basically just like a sawtooth wave with some unison. Let's see, what else do we got in here? Got a pads layer. So this is like probably 4 or 5 tracks all together that I bounced together. What else is there? What if I go into one of the MIDI layers so you can kind of just see so this is a super saw, and this is like one of the fundamental. Anyone who's an EDM junkie, you're going to be like rolling your eyes at this. But for other people who aren't like huge EDM nerds, then maybe it'll be all right. But right now there's a huge war on super saws right now where like everyone thinks they're overused or whatever, but I just think they're beautiful. So they sound like this. So this is a synth. What that is playing is well, let me show you the MIDI first. So it's just playing these like simple chords. And this is a synth called Serum. And this is like one of the bread and butter like EDM synths. So let me just turn off all the post-processing. X on it, which is insane. Which just shows how like powerful just this saw sound is. So just on its, if you just take out, like, let's just play one oscillator. So it's basically a sawtooth wave, right? It sounds like this. And, you know, sawtooth waves, they sound very rich. The cool thing about this specific type of oscillator is it hits every single harmonic in the harmonic series. So people who know about sound design or have taken a theory of music class, you know that, like, kind of what's really important about making a timbre of an instrument is the harmonics that it has. And, like, you know, a violin will have one type of harmonic, a piano will have its own, like, harmonics. And sawtooth waves are interesting because they hit every single, actually, if we look at it like in an EQ. So, like, look at what what a sine would sound like. And there's multiple because we're hitting a chord, we're not just hitting one note, but it's like, you see there's 4 notes in the chord, right? And it's just 4 frequencies. But if you use a sawtooth, get at all the frequencies, right? So, like, look how much just that one pad fills up all of the space. So yeah, super saws, they just sound, sawtooth waves sound really nice. And then the next step you do is you basically boost this unison value. So instead of just one sawtooth wave playing, it's 16 of them. It sounds amazing, right? Literally 2 clicks, and this sound is like 90% of EDM. Literally. It's and it sounds awesome, and I'm not ashamed of it. So we did that, then we added square waves. Then, like, you know, a noise. White noise. It adds a nice brightness to it, so. And then, like, post-processing, there's this plugin everyone uses called OTT. Really gets the sound under control and flattens it a bit. So, yeah. Then what are these buses? We got reverb. Yes. So that's an example. So basically, melodic dubstep, it's such a cool genre because all you need is, like, this really solid foundation of, like, a super saw, and then you add a bunch of other, like, leads and stuff on top of it. That sound is a really awesome guitar lead type sound. This is actually one of the presets in Logic. Let's see, without any processing on it. It's a really, like, thick lead. It sounds awesome. You know, we add some post-processing on it. The big thing is this, there's an amp simulator where you can, like, try different types of amps, and it adds that whole kind of reverb, distorted type sound. That adds some delay to get it more stereo, and then yeah, get it under control with EQ, add a reverb. Yeah. Okay. One more thing on this project. I'm gonna show you how this vocal chop works. It's actually gonna be embarrassing to show, but this is how it goes. Wait, hold on. I need. That's an awesome sound. And believe it or not, that's actually me. That's my voice. That's not Sherlene. That's me. And this is what it sounded like originally. Yeah. No, wait. It sounded like this. Okay. Literally, like not even the right key, not even on tune. And then a lot of like, you can tune it up, and it sounds like this. Still sounds weird,
I don't know
but
if that sounds better or worse.
well, it's believe it or not, it's a step in the right direction. So then, look how long this is like an insanely long processing chain. So that's just what it sounds like hard tuned, but without any processing. You add compression so that it stays at a kind of consistent volume. Add distortion. So there's this funny little distortion plugin. It's this little goblin guy shows up. Hopefully my CPU doesn't die. Add more distortion. So we got like 2 distortion plugins. Add this thing, which is kind of adds like a flanger chorus effect. And EQ, OTT as always. Then the spatial effects like delay and reverb. And yeah, so kind of my pattern for those who are like interested in music production, it's kind of a similar pattern where you start with like distortion, and then you can compress before and after. Compressing like where you put it in the chain impacts it a lot because it really emphasizes what's behind the compressor. So if you compress before distortion, it's a certain sound versus compressing after distortion. It can be really it can be really intense, but sometimes you want that. And then you usually put the spatial effects at the end. But these are all just like, kind of rules of thumb. Yeah. Should we go? Do you want to say anything about what it was like to sing on this?
Yeah, we did a ton of takes, and yeah, I think we did like, what was it? On some songs, it was like 8 takes for kind of filter through them and find some of the better ones, and then filter through them again. You know what I realized is that it's a lot different than singing live. I mean, some of you know that Eric and I serve on worship at our church, and singing live I feel like is so much easier because it's like a one, but when it's recorded, it's there forever, and it's also the style of music. Would listen to a lot of other EDM songs, right? And a lot picked up some tips and tricks. Just listen to the genre to become familiar with how it's sung. And I still like, it's not perfect. I think there's still like, but I think it was still an experience with recording, with taking multiple takes and finding the right ones and making sure everything's pitch, even though there are like pitch correctors and services that can fix it for you. It's so weird because you don't want to use them as much as, like, they're there to help you, but it sounds best when you don't have to use them as much. So that just ended up with us taking a bunch of. But I'm glad we did. It was worth it.
And it's just it's a certain sound whenever there's like pitch correction or not, right?
Yeah.
And it always introduces artifacts, which sometimes in EDM it's kind of weird. You want those artifacts, that really artificial sound, but other times you don't. And I think the cool thing, like this song is a really good example of your singing range, because like, okay,
Oh, Beautiful Doubt.
yeah,
Yeah.
like this part. This is the insane belt here, right?
So hold on, hold on.
And it's so crazy because now I don't think I would have a problem with that belt. But at the time we made the song, I was in a specific point in my vocal journey that felt like the most I could do. And I'm still proud of it. But I feel like if we recorded it again, I could probably do it better and I could probably sound stronger. But that was a crazy belt at the time.
Yeah, or I think I was like, because I had a certain vision on it. I was like telling you like, okay, we gotta do this belt, and you gotta go like, oh, like you gotta do this like pitch down, right? And you weren't sure how it would sound at first, right? And
yeah, because it did not sound good raw.
yeah, but with all the effects and everything.
So hold on, hold on. So hold on, hold on.
Doubles and all the effects and everything. It sounds, yeah, it's just a different style from how you would sing live.
Yeah.
And at the end here, you get.
You fall to stand a little taller.
That's using your chest voice, right? Or your
I think that was probably the lowest that I've sung on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we look at culprit? Thanks everyone who's sticking around. I hope this is interesting to you. Feel free to ask questions or. Hello. Okay. Now it's taking it. It's getting it. Hello. Okay. We should be back. Sorry about that. I think when we Logic messes up when we close a project, it messes up all the audio settings. So we can go back. So this is like the first dance, like 4 on the floor, 128 BPM. It's like super easy to make actually. Oh, we're not getting desktop audio. Hold on. Sorry, we're trying to get the desktop audio. Oh man. Sorry about technical. Gotta toggle it. That seemed to work. Okay.
There we go.
Wait. Oh yeah. Okay. That seems to work. Okay. Okay, I hope that's good now. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so this is a cooler project to show because I haven't bounced a lot of it to audio. And that's because this project was actually is a lot easier to make this genre of music than melodic dubstep. It's because you literally just have like 5 layers that you bring in and out at different points, and then that's the entire song. And that's what the popular mainstream does. So but it was fun to make. So let's see. Okay, I think a cool part was this lead. So this is a cool cool layer. So has that whole like kind of delay type lead. And the MIDI is pretty interesting on this because it's not playing every subdivision. The delay is doing a lot of the work. I'll go off the delay. Oh, is my CPU dying? Okay, hold on. That sounds pretty cool, actually. But, oh man, we're getting some serious audio issues. It comes and goes. It's weird. Yeah. Oh man. Oh well. That's I'm not gonna do this. Okay. A lot of cool instruments in the bridge here. Like this pad sound. Awesome. That pad is like 3 different layers. Like evolve and swell over time. Yeah, this was a... So what you normally want to do is you want to have like a lower layer like this. That's just warm. Kind of building the foundation. This is the like kind of mids. And then you're really pretty free to add stuff on top that has a lot of like stereo information. Like this thing. Like it's like evolving a lot, it's panning side to side. For this one, I think I used a a plugin called Analog Strings by Output. Hopefully this loads with that. Plugin that looks pretty cool. It looks like yeah, so Jonathan, for example, for these pads, so this like strings layer, this is a plugin called Analog Strings. Let me just play it by itself. A super high quality patch. Then strings layer, I think that's also analog strings. So both of these layers are like see this is what happens when you don't bounce the audio. It takes a long time for everything to play. So these are both like third-party plugins, you know. This one, this Anthem pad, this is a really cool Logic preset. This is in Alchemy. Not gonna. Let's see. Maybe I can turn the quality down. Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna freeze it. And this one's also in Alchemy. The things that are in so that lead sound that you heard before, like that was in Serum. This bass is actually mostly stock Logic, I think. Like a low layer that's just like a sub, and then a more distorted layer. And both of these are ES2. And I didn't make these. I got these presets from somewhere, and you know, you just kind of build up a collection of them, and then over time you kind of get a feeling of like, oh, I've heard this preset sound somewhere. I bet I can reuse it here. Part of the end I'm really proud of. On, keep it with me. Ah, oh, dang. It's tough.
Dying.
Yeah.
It's cutting us off.
But yeah. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, everyone. We're at the 30-minute mark, so thanks so much for coming. Guys were really cool to enjoy the music with us.
Yeah.
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 Oh, did we lose sound again? No, wait. No, we didn't. Okay.
We're good.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for us share this journey with you. And yeah.
We'll call it a night.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.